of a military invasion. The opponents today have brought examples of Afghanistan, examples of political disputes and political disparity that occurs because of executive powers, which my Prime Minister have already occurred. These are the ignorance that side opposition have shown to us. Not only to the fact, they also not even rebutted the idea of natural disasters, which is a flaw, a major flaw on the other side. Now, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very fine day to the pure present in today's debate. After listening to all the delusions that came off on their side, it came to realization that I have three things to do. The very first thing, that I shall rebut the points coming off on their side. The second thing, I shall defend the case coming from my Prime Minister just now, which is a wonderful case. And I shall expand the debate by giving two more points, which falls under the key phrase of confidence in giving humanitarian aids. And the third point is the idea of mobilization of military. Now let's not waste any more time and cut to the chase and talk about the rebuttals, alright? So basically, the opposition leader today stood up and gave a very preposterous case where she suddenly said that Afghanistan is a case of a failure of a military intervention, when in fact she specifically said the invasion in Afghanistan failed. This is a military intervention in sending humanitarian aid. And the second idea, they also tried to rebut on our points of how United Nations is going to be defeating the purpose of providing humanitarian aid. I'm sorry, but the political disparities that is occurring in the United Nations is not caused due to the fact of humanitarian factors. This debate is about humanitarian crisis. This debate is about saving lives. And that is our stance today. So that is the problem on their side, because they're not engaging to that. Now, the idea that Somalia is actually denying any form of aid due to the anti-Western sentiments, right? They're saying that it's only exclusive to our side because we're going to be bringing militaries into the picture. No. On the other side, even if they bring aid workers who come from the Western countries, the Somalis will still deny the rights. See, that is the problem on their side, because they think it is only exclusive to the presence of military, when in fact that example won't even work. And we've shown to you how with the presence of military, we have seen a lot of success, such as the UNITAF, Unified Task Force, and what my Prime Minister told you just now, which proved to feed 100,000 people, which brought them out of famine in Somalia. That is the kind of success that we want in today's debate. Calm down. Now, and then the second thing, we have in today's debate, we have a few problems because they see that the aid workers were allowed in there because they were neutral. I'm sorry, but it's not that. The aid workers were allowed to enter the countries because they were carrying essentials for the people's life. Because they were there under humanitarian principles to save life. That is why they were allowed. So that is the reason we are superior in today's debate. No, thank you. Now, again, but the idea that we have in the debate today, they say that the purpose of the army is to go there, terrorize and kill everyone in the place, just to execute, just to form a refugee camp. I'm sorry. But the purpose of military is not there to be static, just to kill people. No. This is a form of an adaptation of the purpose of military. We can see the military, the armed forces, building houses in conflicted nations. These are the kind of adaptations that we need to understand and realize that the military is not just some brutal, cruel people who's in there with the big guns to kill people. Thank you. Yes, anything.
Sir, when these military forces meet rogue groups who stop them in the middle of the road, a shootout occurs, war happens. Collateral damage also occurs, civilians die. How is that helping your case?
See, that escalates quickly, right? The idea you say suddenly someone's gonna stop you in the middle of the road to hijack the aid, right? So it will be in logical sense for you to protect the aid, to make sure that the people who are supposed to get the aid are going to get it. This is the kind of thing that we are doing today. This is the real saving life that we are proposing in today's debate. So I think we're done with rebuttals and all of their points already fall in today's debate. Now let's have a chat on the second part from side government, which falls under the key phrase of the confidence in humanitarian aids, right? Now let's look at the basic idea. When you put military intervention in the picture of delivering emergency aid in humanitarian crisis, right? We know that these emergency aids are usually dispersed in places where there's instability, where there's a lot of radicality, there's a lot of violence going on, and we need something that can get the job done. We have proven to you today that military have the capacity to do it, that they can get the job done, they can save lives. So those are the things that we have proven today. Now, talking about the levels of analysis that we have the idea of the prospects, right? The prospects of the military intervention to regulate and to provide better efficiency in delivering the emergency aids so that the people could be safe. Now, in the debate today, it's like a precautionary step in which you put military in the picture. It's that you have a sense of guarantee. Right now, you're going to be able to send the